What if I told you that most of your thoughts are not actually yours? Not because you're crazy, not because you're broken, but because from the second that you were born, you were dropped into a system that told you who to be, what to fear, what success looks like, what beauty looks like, what love looks like, what safety looks like, what God looks like, what money looks like, what failure looks like. And somewhere along the way, you stopped asking, is this actually true? And started asking, how do I survive inside of this? Look, because honestly, the older I get, the more I feel like we're living inside some kind of psychological escape room. Everybody's anxious, everybody's overstimulated, everybody's exhausted, everybody's comparing, consuming, scrolling, everybody's performing, and nobody's asking the real question, what if your reality is just programmed? And listen, I'm not saying we're living in the matrix. I mean, we are. I'm saying, what if your nervous system has been conditioned to emotionally participate in realities that keep us small? What if the brain has been trained to rehearse fear more than opportunities? What if manifestation isn't about becoming delusional, but about waking up? Because here's what's crazy to me. We know thoughts affect biology. We know trauma changes the brain. We know that repeated emotional states become personality traits. We know the nervous system filters everything. We know the reticular activation system literally decides what you notice and what you don't. Science already proved, and your brain edits reality constantly. So if your brain is already editing, then who programmed the filter? And before you think, oh my God, Michelle has finally lost it, relax. Because today is not about fear, it's about freedom. And because if reality is programmable, then maybe it's reprogrammable too. So the other day, I was talking to my friend and she said, Michelle, you teach manifestation all day long. But if you had to strip away all the fluff, what are the 5 things you actually need to know? And I started thinking, damn. Because there's so much fake manifestation content online right now. People pretend to be enlightened, emotionally collapsing in private. People say, just think positive while their nervous system is in survival mode. People vision bored $1 million lives by subconsciously believing that they deserve abandonment. And that's why manifestation fails people. Because your subconscious mind doesn't care what you want. It cares what's familiar. So if I had to break it down to 5 things I genuinely believe would help you right now, not just spiritually, neurologically, emotionally, and energetically, I would say these are the 5 things that changed my mind. So let's start with the 1. Stop worshiping your current reality. Most people think reality is truth. It is not. Reality is repetition. Your brain confuses familiarity with safety, and that's just neuroscience. The reticular activation system, the watcher in the brain, filters billions of pieces of information every single second. And it only shows you what you align with in your identity. Meaning, if you believe people leave, you'll start noticing abandonment. If you believe money disappears, you'll start noticing bills. If you believe you're unattractive, your brain will literally filter out evidence that you are loved. That's insane. Your brain Google searches identity all day long. Talk about childhood conditioning, fear patterns, repeating loops, social programming, why people stay in toxic relationship, familiar hell versus unfamiliar heaven. This is what's happening all the time. And it leads to the second most indirect thing, because manifestation is not about what you say you want. It's about your nervous system believes it is safe to receive. Point number 2, your nervous system chooses manifestation before your mind does. This one changed my entire life because I need to think about the mindset problem. No, I had a safety problem. You cannot sustain and attract what the body receives as dangerous. I want to read that again. People say, I want love, but intimacy feels unsafe. People say, I want money, but visibility feels unsafe. I want success, but being seen feels unsafe. So your nervous system sabotages the very thing your conscious mind is asking for every single time. And here's why people self-sabotage right when things get good, because the body goes, wait, this isn't familiar. And the nervous system would rather keep you in predictable suffering than unfamiliar freedom. So when we talk about trauma responses, hypervigilance, self-sabotage, why people ruin relationships, why we procrastinate, why we feel threatened, emotional chaos, cortisol identity, survival mode, and all of this just filters into our personality. And once I understood that, I realized that manifestation isn't really about attracting. It's really about your identity. So as we get into point number 3, I want to really have you hold that thought for just a second. Your identity is your portal. You don't receive what you want, you receive what it feels like you. That's why 2 people can hear the same exact opportunity and one person becomes wealthy from it and the other person talks themselves out of it immediately. Because identity filters possibility. I want you to hear that again. Identity filters possibility. Your personality is not fixed. Your fears are not fixed. Your limitations are not fixed. Most of them repeated long enough that your brain started calling them you. That's how they identify. Michelle's a worrier. Michelle's this, Michelle's that. So it has to be that identity. And honestly, that should piss you off just a little bit. It really pissed me off. Because somewhere along the way, you inherited identity from people who were drowning. People who were scared. People who were traumatized. People who were just surviving. And they thought of you and your limitations as if this was real wisdom they were giving you. Talk about inherited beliefs. I mean, our parents, our family, our money stories, our religion, our scarcity. People like us don't get that. Identity loops, self-concept, becoming the version of yourself that feels natural to not have abundance as opposed to have it. But here's where it gets even crazier. Most people are unknowingly manifesting all day long. They're just manifesting what they fear. And they don't really realize it. And this is my 4th point that I want to make. Most people are emotionally rehearsing disaster all the time. What do most people mentally rehearse? Worst case scenarios, arguments, fears, failure, embarrassment, reactions, bills, stories, scary Sundays. Okay? Doom, catastrophe, the world is ending. And they want to know why their body feels anxious. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a vivid imagination and stress and the real stress of your day-to-day life. That's just neuroscience. Your body chemically responds to imagined experiences all day long. So you're rehearsing this. You're rehearsing this all the time, and your nervous system starts to prepare for disaster, and you start to manifest it. And eventually your identity is disaster is coming, disaster is coming. So you doom scroll. You try news cycles. You're overstimulated. You have fear of addiction. You're emotionally rehearsing. Your cortisol is spiked. Your social media is comparing to everybody else. And all of the while, you feel more exhausted every single day. Which finally brings me to the 5th and the finally thing. And honestly, this is the one that really changes so much of the people in my coaching programs and in my classes. The highest version of you, it really does exist. I know that sounds kind of insane, but listen to me. Quantum physics already suggests that multiple possible existence exists simultaneously until observed. Meaning, there's a version of you that already solved the thing that you're crying about right now. A version of you that feels safe. A version of you that feels loved. A version of you that feels abundant. A version of you that wakes up excited to be alive in this time-space continuum. And maybe manifesting is not creating her, but maybe it's remembering who that version of you was. Because every single time you choose peace over chaos, possibility over fear, self-respect over survival, perseverance over panic, you move closer to the version of you that has it all. So why aren't you talking to your future self, your future timelines, your intuition, the synchronicities that you keep seeing, the repeating numbers, the quantum possibilities, the emotional alignment? Becoming instead of chasing. Your future self is communicating through desire. So no, I don't know if we're living in a simulation, but I know if reality is an illusion, then this is where consciousness and reality intersect. And perhaps one is awake and one is asleep. And honestly, neither does anybody good, because where do we go when we sleep? But what I do know is that most people are living inside inherited realities that they never consciously chose. Inherited fears, inherited limitations, inherited identities, inherited emotional patterns. And manifestation might simply be the process of waking up enough to finally choose that version of yourself, not this one. Because the truth is, the world benefits when you're distracted, disconnected, overstimulated, insecure, exhausted, and emotionally reactive. But your soul wants awareness. Your soul wants freedom. Your soul wants expansion. And maybe the real miracle is not becoming someone else. Maybe the real miracle is finally remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. So if your reality feels heavy right now, if you feel trapped, if you feel disconnected, if you feel exhausted by your own thoughts, that doesn't mean you're broken. It may simply mean that you're starting to wake the fuck up. And honestly, that changes everything. And my friends, you are ready for that change. I want to let you know that right now, as you are listening to this, the highest version of you, the future version of you, the biggest version of you, they sent you to this podcast. Maybe you've been praying on it. Maybe you've been thinking about this. Maybe this is a subject that has been just masticating in your head and you've been chewing on it. Am I in a dystopian reality? Is there a matrix? Is this an illusion? Yes. So which version are you going to feed? The one that says that anything is possible? Or the one that keeps circling the drain of fear and disillusionment? Because really, the devil you know is better than the unbridled and unimagined freedom that you can't comprehend. There's so much more of you that you haven't explored because you're so comfortable in this broken reality. So it's time that you wake the fuck up and you understand exactly how much you've been conditioned, from the schools to the music to the water to the food to everything in between. There is no version of you that hasn't been touched and duplicitly manipulated by this matrix and those who control it, just in the earthly realm. So if you're going to choose a reality and you're going to wake up every single day anyway, you might as well start talking, thinking, dreaming, visualizing, and reacting to the version of you that you are constantly trying to connect with. And stop cosplaying like you want to manifest a different life and do nothing. I'm so proud that you've gotten here this far. I'm so proud that your angels and your guides have trusted you with this message to hear this today so that you will expand and grow and succeed into new places and ways that you haven't been. Because if you are here to create in this illusion and you are currently asleep, and when you go to sleep, you're actually teleporting back to your home base. All the signs and synchronicities that are here are trying to direct traffic, and they're desperately trying to show you how wrong you've had it all along. Now, my name is Michelle Juanita Lamont, and this is Manifesting Miracles, because every single day you should live and expect that miracles are coming into your reality, because you are co-creating with God, and in every single dimension, version, and even quantum entanglement, there's a version of you that's ready to break out of this cycle. And if you don't know how, I want you to join Manifesting Miracles Academy. This is my group community where every single month we commune, we talk, we explore, we exercise, we work with the stars, we work with the moon, we work with all of the different entities on the earth and beyond. I teach you how to tap into this magical version of you, because that version is the God-centered version of you. And everything in this reality is trying to convince you to walk away from it. And I'm trying to drag you back into it. And if you don't know where to start, book a one-on-one call with me. Every Tuesday, I do a free 10-minute session to talk about the different products and services that I offer that might be able to help you switch realities. Now, I am so proud of you. And the highest version of you is ready for you to take that big step of fear. So we're going to close this podcast like we close every single one. And in 3, 2, 1. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Us again. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out for us. Okay, my beloved, if you have not heard it yet, you are loved, you are needed, you are known, you are seen, you are protected, you are the miracle. So go create your own. Listen to another one, but take my advice. Take my advice. Listen to these 5 topics, these 5 cues, and take my advice. Join Manifesting Miracles so I can meet you and that we can start working on this next reality right now. All right, producers, it's time to cue that motherfucking music and let them know that the show is over. This is Manifesting Miracles, a top 1% podcast. I ask that you recommend it to your friends or write a review. Thank you in advance for your cooperation, my friends. I love you. 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 You are loved. You are loved. You are known. You are known. You are loved. You are loved. You are known. You are known. And baby, I'm about to help you rewrite that story, because it's you and it's time for you to fly.